Hello again, and welcome to Philosophy Pop-Up Workshop. If this interests you, please subscribe, please tell people. And my partner here is reminding me that I actually need to do this more often, so that's why I'm starting this. Happy Solstice! It is the longest day of the year, and also the most intense sunlight of the year in the northern hemisphere. In the southern hemisphere, they have the winter solstice today. Okay, it's been an utterly spectacular day on Nantucket. Sun all day, windy, but not hot. It's never been hot. It's starting to cool down right now. Absolutely extraordinary. Very, very special. People have been celebrating this since the beginning of man. And especially the further away you get from the equator, the more important it is as you go to more and more imbalance, whether north or south. Okay? I'd like to start actually by doing the addendum. I think it's actually perfect on the solstice. Remember last week in part 2, when I was talking about nature, there was something I couldn't pull up in my mind. And I figured out why. It was because it was kind of different from what I was talking about. I'm going to go right to it. And this is for everyone on this planet. Every Homo sapien on this planet. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Austrian Air Force officer, Baumgartner. I don't know his first name. People might dismiss that, thinking Austria doesn't have an Air Force. They do. And he was apprenticed to astronauts, to the elite Air Force, which, by the way, my grandfather and great-grandfather were from. And he spent a lot of time in New Mexico, basically doing an apprenticeship with some of the best aeronautics people in the world. And he wanted to set the record for jumping. You might recall he was in the news. He was all over the news several years ago because he did the highest jump from space, off a platform, to Earth in New Mexico desert. It had to be postponed at least once because the weather conditions weren't perfect. They were just about to do it one time, and I think it was postponed before that as well. Okay, Officer Baumgartner, when he went up, go and look at the videos of him up in space, and he was about the distance, as it turns out, between, for those who are local or from the region, almost exactly the distance from Hyannis to Nantucket, but vertical. When he came down, and watch the videos, it's utterly extraordinary, okay? Do you know what he said? When reporters went to, great success, broke the record. When reporters went to him, what did he say? He said, I want humanity to understand how hostile it is up there. And how this oxygen, as anybody knows who goes into the mountains, the oxygen goes lower and lower. And then you go a little bit further, and there is no oxygen. And he said every human being should be thinking that we are covered by this band, and it makes everything, and allows us to live. You don't find the oxygen anywhere else, and we are almost 8 billion people, and we have so many conflicts and so many problems. That was, and I'm quoting him, and I'm hesitant to do that, but that's what I distilled from all the things he said to reporters. He said, I wish that human beings understood how hostile it is up there. This is absolutely, this isn't from him, now I'm adding, it's utterly miraculous, okay? And you can look at it however you wish. If you want to look at it through faith, religion, or something even before formal religions, or something else, wonderful. But it's about appreciation. And every moment And you know what? It also ties with the first video, because without oxygen, there's no sound and there's no music. There's not much of anything. We have the moon, which is awesome. The moon is awesome, but it's just rocks from us, from this. The moon is of the Earth, but it's all rocks. Okay, so we just went all the way to the moon. Let's end this by actually letting me get really specific. Local, but it's universal as well. And this is what I really want to do. This is what these videos are about. I actually, if I need to focus on something local, I want it to be, I want it to go out and out and out. I want it to have applicability. It's a little bit like a Russian, you know, the Russian Matrushka dolls. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but where you have the big doll and you open it, and then there's a smaller one, and a smaller one, and a smaller one, smaller one, till you have this little tiny doll. This is the inversion. This is the opposite. We start with a little tiny doll, and a bigger doll, and a bigger doll, and a bigger doll, bigger doll. Okay, that's the metaphor. That's really what I want to do. Sometimes things don't have anything more than local applicability, but I'm hoping that this occurs with greater frequency, and I will make an effort to do that. Okay, so back to the local, but this is universal. Here on this island, we have so many different things going on, and so many different people from everywhere. I mean, it's urban, okay? Unfortunately, there are people who I don't respect other people, other Homo sapiens, but they also don't seem to understand where they are. I don't mean Nantucket Island. They don't seem to understand. It's not just about not respecting other human beings. They're not respecting what made this. And I mean, it's a defilement. Whether you believe in God in some form, or nature, just call it nature, or do a pure scientific, materialistic expression of this, it's as though they have absolutely no understanding of where they are. And of course it affects other people. And it's a problem right here on the summer solstice in the northern hemisphere on Nantucket Island. There are people who are not respecting other people and the place. And they're leaving trash. They're really, really abusing things. And it's a blight. And it must stop. It's so painful to observe. And I'm just right here. This is happening in other places on the island, and I can't be everywhere. And it really hurts me, but I don't want to go beyond that on this most positive day. In my mind, one of the two most positive days of the year, along with the winter solstice, which we celebrate with Christmas. So this is simpler. So, God bless, all the best. Happy summer solstice to anyone who's living north of the equator, and happy winter solstice to anybody who's living south of the equator. And to the people on the equator, enjoy, as I hope you do all the time. And that's it.